Welcome everyone. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so good evening, everybody. Very nice to see all of you from afar. First, congratulations to everybody because we have just finished with all the most of the details about mental processes. And today we are going to start some new themes. We are going to look at the 31 planes of existence, which is also quite interesting and maybe a little bit intense today.
Little bit. Set up your safety belts, please. Okay, my dear family. So let's focus. Let's start with just a few minutes, remembering all our dear brothers and Dhamma family and human family, our own family, especially those that we know that are having troubles either in the mind or in their health. So we attune with all beings in this plane and any plane, wishing their well-being and focusing that our understanding and our practice be of benefit for all of them as much as we can. We should be stable, try to be stable, and support by thought, by words, by actions. There are many things we can do, just contacting friends or family, keeping a positive attitude, and please let's not contribute to the turmoil, misinformation, agitation, negativity. May this understanding be of help for oneself and others, and be rooted in wholesome actions, wholesome words. We will need a lot. Thank you everybody for your honesty and noble effort. We are together in this boat. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava araham sama sambuddho vichacharana sampanno sukato lokavido anutaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusa nambuddho bhagavati swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko panayiko pachatam veditavo vinyuhiti Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Samichipatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Yadidam chatari purisa yugani ata purisa pugala Esa bhagavato savaka sango Ahuneyo pahuneyo Dakineyo anjali karaniyo Anutaram punyaketam lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, my dear family, today, as Charana just mentioned, we are going to explore the 31 planes of existence, or at least some of them. Let's see how far we can get. And very nice way to start, remembering all kinds of beings. So just keep in mind that not just us as humans, we have difficulties. Also, you will see in another planes of existence, there are also beings with more difficulties, and there are beings with less. The ones that are more developed internally, or more with a subtler mind, and we have possibility to reach all those planes as well. So there is a big range in the universe about ways of being. We can change the quality. Fortunately, we can direct our minds and cultivate them towards goodness, so we can be moving in the human realm. In another kind of realms, nature is always in its perpetual change and recycling of energy until we are able to stop the process altogether. So let's start.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk about the planes of existence. And so, as you all may know, that there exist 31 planes of existence according to the Buddha's teachings. So today we are going to look at some of, hopefully everything, and let's see how far we can go. So just a little recap. Last week we talked about that Chuti Chitta and Patisandhi Chitta, which is the death consciousness and the rebirth consciousness, arise immediately after, they are one after the other. So rebirth consciousness arise immediately after death consciousness. So there is no waiting room in between. After one person passed away, which that means that when Chuti Chitta arise, but death consciousness arise, then immediately in the next moment, then if he is not fully enlightened yet, then and he will be reborn into wherever his karma brings him. So then Chuti Chitta and Patisandhi, between them there is nothing else. So only one after the other. And also we have seen that where we are going. So this ticket, it depends on our own action. So, okay, so this is a little recap of last week. And we have also seen that depending on our own action, literally karma means action, depending on our own action, so one can be reborn into any of the 31 plane of existence, depending on your own action. So previously, we have already seen in previous chapters of what happened or what kind of actions will bring us to what kind of realms. And today we will also see a little bit of them. So altogether in this graphic, you can see there are 4 lower planes, 1 human plane, 6 Deva planes, 16 fine material planes, and 4 non-material planes. So altogether 31 of them, and we're going to look at them one by one today.
Yes, my dear family, sometimes we will encounter some amazing facts of nature today. We will explore. We have done it in the past. So I just want to bring a reminder to bring things home. In the universe, beings exist. Mm-hmm. At least these ones, we are sure. Definitely,
and animals.
Definitely so in this universe, beings exist. There is the possibility for matter and a conscious process or energy, consciousness energy, to come together and being able to express verbally, physically, and have movement. Definitely, my dear family, and this is I know it's very simple, the thought, but beings exist in the universe. At least animals and us, we are definitely sure. And of course, microbial and bacteria exist. Many, 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 many kinds. Even just in this planet, there are millions of species. In one single family, there are many branches. They have different characteristics. And by nature, depending on the species of animal, for example, let's think about crocodiles. They have their own nature already. They have their own temperament. They have their own defensiveness. Let's think, for example, about koalas or dolphins or horses. Just by being of that kind, we kind of already get a sense of what kind of behavior a horse or a dolphin or a bear develops. There's different degrees of aggression in them. There are different degrees of how they take care of their siblings or their cubs. And even in humans, let's remember that among the same species, we are many, many, many humans and many, many kinds of being a human, from very developed that we can reach, or we may be on the scale, to very low kind of behavior, one that is very temperamental, very reactive. And we know people, unfortunately, it's very easy to see in the news as well, people that immediately, as soon as they get contradicted, violence, even physical violence, to the degree of committing heavy karma actions, happen. We live in this kind of beings, and we can move according to our ability, according to the wisdom or ignorance we carry and our practice. We have the potentiality to grow to finer and more refined, wise and loving, helpful and altruistic kind of being. This same kind of body will do those actions. Or if we release ourselves, if we are not careful, the negativity that we already carry, and if we fill it up, if we feed it, we can reach to very low levels, also influenced by the external activities. I'm sure that if we were in a difficult situation where someone is attacking or something, I'm sure that maybe the tranquility we will have at this moment will change. So we have this potential, and it depends on external conditions in the kind of world we live in the kind of environment we live in. So now we're going to be exploring all these kinds of beings. The universe is very vast, and even right now, in our own hands, we have many kinds of beings. In our own guts, in our own stomach, we have trillions of other beings that compose us. There are many things that the fact that we cannot see something does not mean that it is not there. So, just keeping this as a reminder, the universe is very vast, and the diversity of kinds of beings, it's very great, and the kinds of consciousness that it goes. We will explore now, we will go to the big families of them, but let's keep the scope. And important, even if doubt arises, just remember, in this planet, at least in one of the trillions of planets that there exist in this universe, there are the possibility and the conditions for beings to arise. It's a fact.
Okay, thank you, Bante. So let's see what's next. Yeah, so we have seen that beings can, depending on one's own action, as Bante said, so it is possible for beings to be reborn into different places, different realms, different planes of existence. Now, according to the Buddha's teaching, these 31 planes of existence can be divided into two in a simple way. The first one, the four lower realms, the four lower planes, are considered to be dukkati, which is called unhappy destination, meaning that in these places there are more suffering. Most of the time that these beings, they are suffering. And so du from dukkha, no? So maybe you can recognize the Pali word dukkha. And gati means a destination or the place, no?
A destination of suffering, where people, where beings suffer, in terms of the scale, suffer more than humans.
So it's called dukkati, these four lower realms. And then from human onwards, it's called happy destination, sugati, coming from sukha.
Sukha and dukkha, happiness and suffering. Yeah.
So in a big classification, dukkati and sugati. So later, we are going to see a little bit of a finer classification now. So before, we have already seen this when we studied about the different kinds of chittas. We have studied the chittas, the consciousness of the sense realm, sense plane, kama, vachara, chittas. Then we have studied also the other ones, like the five material ones and the non-material ones. Actually, we have gone through all kinds of chittas. So here also it is divided into different planes.
Meaning that we have explored already in the previous chapters all the possibilities and kinds of mental states that these different beings can have. And we have seen that as humans, we are in a very auspicious position, because we experience both. We experience negativity and positivity, and we can guide this process, and we can choose actually what happens in this life and what happens after this life. We are actually responsible, not just as humans, but all the other beings. And we have seen that lower realm beings actually only mostly experience akusala and wholesome mental states. That's why they stay for much longer there, because they don't have the possibility of goodness that can bring them out. Also, as a reminder, my dear family, let's take aside our previous information based in Catholicism, because in Catholicism, one thing, they also agree that there are different kinds of realms, the happy realms and unhappy realms. But one thing very important, one difference is that nature is never stable. I mean, nature is never gets stuck onto something. In terms of Catholic view, these realms are forever. You either go up or go down forever. That doesn't match with nature. Nature is always changing. Welcome, Maru. Nature is always changing, and we can move. We have been in lower realms. We ourselves, or this process of consciousness apparently has been in higher realms, and now we are in human in a very good condition, not so much suffering, and a teaching that can liberate us. So let's remember that it is movable. It's not forever.
It's not forever.
We can go down, we can come up, we can go up, we can come down. Nature is moving. And remember that when we die, every single thing in terms of matter, we are sure it is recycled. Nothing goes to waste. Nothing disappears. All the particles of the body gets reused by something else. What can we say of consciousness? It's just energy, and energy is not created nor destroyed. It's just recycled. So we will see keeping all these natural facts in mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we are talking about the Kamavachara plane. So Kamavachara sense sphere, meaning that if you still remember, meaning that the objects, that most of the time beings have the five senses, the six senses, no? Both eye, ear, nose, tongue, touch, and also mind. So all the objects are sense objects. So here in the four lower planes, and also in the human planes, and also the Deva planes, they are considered to be the Kamavachara planes, which are sense sphere planes, meaning that they have contact with a lot of sense objects, no, like eyes, ears.
We hear, we see, we smell, taste,
and touch,
feel, and think. Mm-hmm. All these kind of beings have the same possibility.
Mm-hmm. So here in Kamavachara, we have the follower planes, and then we have human and devas. Then in another plane, it's called the fine material planes, rupa vachara. So here beings arrive to this place because of samatha meditation, because of jhana, no, if you still remember. So here the beings, they still have a body, they still have eyes and ears, but they are much finer. In these realms, later on when we study metta, then you will see it's quite interesting. They can see, they can hear, but because in these planes, people arrive there because of jhana. So if you remember, jhana arise because of the jhanangas, the jhana factors, which temporarily suppresses the five hindrances. No, so in the most of the time, these beings, they don't have sense desire, they don't have so much, they don't have anger. Or tinamida, like sleepiness or laziness, and well, the five hindrances. Now we're going to get into detail. So these beings, for these beings, there are 16 fine material planes called rupa vachara, and also we have arupa vachara, which are four non-material planes. Here in these planes, beings have no more materiality, only mind without rupa. Okay, later we will get into details when we go into each one of them. So what I wanted to say here is that in Kamavachara planes, it is divided into halfly. One part of it is dukkati, is the unhappy destination, which we have just talked about, and for the humans and for the devas, although it is Kamavachara, it is considered as a happy destination, Sugati. So there is in Kamavachara, Dukkati, and Kamavachara, Sugati.
We are already in the happy destination, as we have explained previously. We have possibility of moving upwards, and we suffer, but not as much as lower realm beings that have. You will see the kind of of lives that the teachers described, the Buddha described. And also remember that if we develop jhana, we could be able to see these lower realms or higher realms. So many teachers as well who has reached the jhanas have been have given recounts of the kind of life that happens in those lower realms. So it is supported by the experience of other beings. We have the possibility, if we develop a very, very strong stability and concentration of mind and temporary purification, we could be able to see these realms as well. So there are some instructions about teachers. Sometimes they don't. Some teachers do not recommend it too much to be moving and checking, because it's so the higher realms could be very attractive, because apparently they experience a different degree of beauty. They have a much more beauty and pleasantness. And lower realms can be, if our mind is not stable and very founded, it can be quite an intense experience. They say it's quite horrible, the things that it happens, and we can see it even right now. If we just put some images of war, some images of hunger, some images of accidents, for example, even in this realm, there are some things that the mind is shocked by it. So let's keep it home, all these things, that even in this human realm we have all these possibilities, many of the ones we will explore today.
Okay, so let's continue. So first, we are going to explore from the bottom. So we are going to look at the unhappy destinations first, Dugati. So in the lower realms, there are 4 of them. That is called in Pali 4 apayas. So apayas, apa means devoid of, and aya means happiness. So as you can see from the name itself, 4 apayas, meaning that those are the places that are devoid of happiness. So unfortunately, being with the ahusala vipaka, with the unwholesome resultant consciousness, when they are died with the ahusala actions, then they will be reborn into these kind of realms. Now, so there are 4 of them. The first one is called niraya. Most of the time, it is described or translated as hell, but later on we can explore more. It is a little bit different from the
Catholic view.
Yes. So, well, as Bante said, we have to remember all these places. They are not forever. They have their own lifespan. How long beings live in those places? We're going to explore it in I think next week. So then we have Tirachana Yoni, which are animal kingdom that we're quite familiar with. We can actually see them.
We actually live with them and
Yes.
and exchange mental states. I mean, not exchange, but interact with them in happiness or in non-happiness or something. So we are very fond of this type of realms, and we share the same, how to say, vibration of we can see them and touch them. They can see us and touch us. And the other kinds of beings, because they have different materiality. Some of them, as we will see, still live on this earth. There are many other beings
Yes, actually,
but they do. We cannot see them because they don't share the same vibration, physical vibration, or share the same electromagnetic spectrum. So I suppose they might be in another kind of frequencies, and they are apparently, as the teacher says, sharing the same space,
yes.
Be it lower and be it also higher. Devas are also apparently living. Apparently the teacher says that they like the forest a lot. They like to stay in nature, and they also share the same planet as us. But we because of the limitations of our senses, in a normal state, we cannot see them. But in jhanas, it's possible apparently to have contact with this kind of different beings.
Okay, so then the next one we have another realm which is called Peti Visaya, generally translated as hungry ghosts. Later we will go into details. And then the last one is called Asurakaya, generally translated as demon, but sometimes, like English words does not really
Make justice.
show how it is. So we will go into the details one by one.
Also, the words in Pali are much elegant, and they have less. We prefer to use Pali because when we listen hell or when we listen demons and things, we already have a very strong idea about what that could be. So let's clear it up and see the possibilities of nature.
Okay, so these 4 places are called the unhappy destination Dukati. People arrive there because of agusala actions, because of unwholesome actions that they have done. Now, in this case, if they're reborn there, then most probably in the previous lives. Yeah? And then the lifespan there is also quite long. We are going to look at this lifespan in next week. Now, let's go to Niraya first. So in Niraya, basically it is translated most of the time to hell. But if you see the Pali words, ni means like is a negative sense. So aya is happiness. So the negative sense of happiness, meaning that those places does not have much happiness. So basically a little bit similar with the word of abhaya, no? Same kind of without happiness. So in those planes, it is said that there are beings there suffered a lot. There are lots of suffering there, almost no happiness there. Then there are all kinds of tortures and like very bad situations.
One thing to say, my dear family, we found these pictures, some of these images are traditional, very old paintings that sometimes you find in Buddhist monasteries or in pagodas. So we took some of them come from Burmese, some of them are Burmese, some of them are Japanese. So these are the descriptions. Some of the images are a little bit strong, but we will see how they move. Even in this realm, there are many similarities. So I encourage everybody to put your seat belt, because today we're gonna have a ride.
Okay, so those according to those descriptions, and you can see, I don't have to say much. You can see from the drawings. So being suffer a lot, like being boiled or being.
The teacher says that apparently in those realms there is so much insensitivity among the beings that they boil them alive. But the unfortunate thing of these realms is that people do not die. Actually,
so
immediately they don't die because of these tortures. And my dear family, really, with all kindness, let's have a kind heart. Today we will touch some not very pleasant characteristics of nature. And I have to say that even in this planet, torture exists. Just to put it, there are some beings who have such insensitivity and they have such intense attachment to their own ideas that they dare to hurt somebody else for any kind, you name the kind of reason there will be. So we are not talking about something that is far somewhere else. Even in this planet, be it human to human or human to animal, torture exists. So we will be as kind as possible. Let's keep the mind in loving kindness towards all the beings that suffer more than us. Let's keep it. We're going to have a ride. So let's be ready.
Yes, so these are some kind of pictures that shows how it looks, like being boiled, being cut, or like all kinds of different tortures exist in this lower realms. So we may say, sometimes really, does this kind of places really exist? Is it possible? Just think of the possibility.
Go. Sometimes we may say, really, does this thing exist? Really, sometimes when teachers declare, so we will see some things that happen in our own planet. For example, one of the classic descriptions that they say of the lower realms is that there are some kind of stronger beings who boil alive the other being. Well, my dear family, I don't know if you have been in China, but in China, for example, now that we are here, it is you go to the restaurant and they have the animals alive outside. So you kind of enter into an aquarium. When you enter to a restaurant, there are all the animals alive, and people choose the animal because there is a belief also in the markets the animals are alive. they choose them alive because there won't be another
it's more fresh.
group. It's more fresh. So immediately in front of the people, they take the life of the being, and very often people rejoice. I'm sorry to say, we have witnessed it. People rejoice in putting the animal alive directly into the oil. So we may think, really, is there a place in the universe where beings boil alive other beings? Well, my dear family,
here we are.
In this earth, every day that thing is happening. So there are more descriptions. Warning, there are some strong images ahead. Caution, caution. A few graphic images ahead. You can choose to put the eyes, you can cover your face, but keep an eye out if you wish. It's necessary to see, but we warn you, there are some things that happen in this world. We are not putting nothing from lower realms, don't worry. We have enough in this planet.
Unfortunately, we don't have pictures from the lower realms, so...
We only have the descriptions of the teachers, but here we go. Safety belt on, let's go. So, take a look at this little video. This is just what we just described. This is in a restaurant. It can be Korea, it can be China, it can be Japan.
It doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where. Also in America, we have some brute displays of non-empathy for the suffering of others. So in this case, as you saw, the octopus is just boiled, the soup is ready, they take the octopus alive and just put it in. So these descriptions of lower realms, man, it's happening here already. And then there are descriptions from lower realms that people is cut alive, taking pieces away. And this is something that unfortunately in this realm as well happens. Well, especially, I mean, we don't put videos because it's too gross, but apparently many of these little animals that are raised for taking their skins away, for making a very fancy and expensive coat, fur, they are very often not even killed before that happens. So they are skinned alive and just live there. I mean, it's just unthinkable. We humans are able to do such kind of things. And then something that happens every single day, there are also descriptions from lower realms that beings are cut from the throat and hang to bleed. My dear family, we as humans do this every single day, billions of times, millions and millions of times every day, and we feed from it. This suffering is happening, and the ways that animals are treated, kept and killed, I mean, we won't go further. Enough images. I mean, I don't know. So one time, one of the things that happened, I was recollecting on the other realms. I was by myself recollecting, and when I was thinking about the descriptions of lower realms,
could that be possible?
I thought, could that be possible? But suddenly, as thinking how we humans treat animals, my dear family, we can say that human world is hell for animals. We are doing exactly the same things that the teachers describe that other beings do to us if we go low, to the beings in lower. We are doing the same for animals. We are boiling them alive. We are cutting their throats and hanging them up to be deblooded. And all these kind of things, this and worse we are doing. My dear family, there are a few more images. We will finish with this. But there is another practice, that unfortunate practice that happens in China and Asian countries, which in the weddings, as you know, they serve shark fin, the fin of the shark, the side fins and the top one, apparently is a delicacy. So in most of the weddings in China, they serve this soup of shark fin. It is very, very expensive because the less sharks there are, the more expensive it gets, of course. So the ways that humans are butchering the sharks, they don't care about the meat. They don't care about the body. They don't even use the whole shark. They just capture them. They cut the fin in order to serve the market that is immense. So they are almost getting extinct because of this Chinese practice, believing that it's very healthy for humans to eat just the fin of the shark. So you will see one image. So if this is not health for animals, I don't know what else we can call. They just cut the fin of the sharks, and once they take it out, they just throw it into the sea. And the sea in Asian seas, they can't swim anymore. They didn't die, so they just drown, go down, and this is a reality. Of course, all the matter is recycled by other animals and things, but they are almost getting extinct. We humans have the ability to do such things. There is another video that we found. There is another description in lower realms where beings put into sticks to the others just to keep them hanging. And this also happens in Chinese cuisine, is very often, or in Japanese cuisine. So you can see that the fish is still alive. And one of the features of many restaurants is to cut the flesh of the fish, put you the fresh, and they keep you the fish. As you can see, the fish is still moving. It hasn't died yet, but all the organs and the flesh has been taken out, ready for the humans to be taken. But the fish is still there, just as you can see, as a showcasing the animal, which haven't died yet. So, my dear family, if this is not... we are doing the same to other species, so nothing out of nature. And this is another Korean or Japanese restaurants where it is a tradition. They insert a stick into the shrimp. As you can see, they are still alive, and they just put them onto boiling water directly in order to have fresh food consumed. So this is unfortunate. I know, I can see your expressions. I know it's uncomfortable, and we are together, my dear family, but we are exploring the scope of ignorance, the scope of suffering in this realm. These things exist, and we want to bring it home, not to have it far away in the hells or something out there.
Yeah, so this is just a contemplation. Then if this kind of descriptions, this kind of state exists even here, so why not in other realms? So just as a contemplation, I think it would be possible to have such kind of places where beings are being tortured.
So don't worry, the heavy stuff is gone. We can rest. No more intense images. But now I want to make a recollection. If we just inverted the roles of animals to humans, some images are funny. Even if we just inverted the roles, okay, let's say that the animals get together and they make a revolution and suddenly decide, okay, let's get free from these humans that are torturing us constantly, and let's do to them what they did to us. So can you see this image? Everybody can see. Imagine it will be opposite. Just you saw the wall of that bear. So just by looking, we keep the skins of the animals there, and there are some more coming. I mean, horrible things we do, my dear family. Ignorance can go very, very far in terms of lack of empathy. We can see, we can have another exchange. Or this one as well. Imagine if the animals decided to exchange the roles. Torture a being in front of others, and everybody's cheering up. Everybody's rejoicing, considering it an art to make another being suffer. Imagine the lack of empathy. Imagine the lack of compassion that there can be. So let's wait a little bit now. Let's take 1 minute to recollect, and also a call to all of us, and I include strongly on it, to reconsider the way we feed ourselves, the things we consume, and the suffering that because of taste we inflict on other beings. So let's reconsider. I know it's a difficult process, sometimes going in, going out, coming in, coming out, but certainly we can do something and together get more consciousness. Everybody is free to make their own decisions, but definitely other beings are suffering because of our
Choices.
choices, of the choices we put on our plates, not just by killing, but also by exploiting through eggs and milk and things. Everybody's free. In my case, being donated food sometimes is a little bit harder, but it's possible. So we also taking this opportunity to rethink our choices if we don't want to make other beings suffer. This is a fact, and in this realm, ignorance and unconsciousness exist, so we make suffer other beings which we consider lower or different. Well, the same can happen in another realms, and we can move among it. So it depends on our mental stability and cultivation. Let's stay a few minutes. Let's reflect in which way we could change so less beings suffer. And we use this opportunity to give a sincere apology, sorry, to all the beings that we have hurt in the past by ourselves or because of us. We remember the people who has no choice than killing because of their livelihood without knowing the seeds that they are planting. We remember all these people. And we remember all beings who suffer more than us, that unfortunately are many, many, many. May all beings, through understanding and consciousness, be freed from mental and physical suffering. May we have the detachment to change our ways so we find a space where less suffering is inflicted. May all beings be well physically, mentally, their families be well, all our families be well, and our greater human family be well. Detachment, love, compassion, and wisdom. May all beings be well physically, mentally. In any kind of situation we face, may we be at ease. Thank you, dear family.
Okay. Well, so let's continue. Fortunately, as we have said previously, that these places they are not forever. So it is just another kind of life. Like just as a human life, there are lifespans, and also in these realms, in these places, there are also lifespans. So depending on the karma of the person, that if one is unfortunately being born into this kind of realm, depending on the karma and depending on the lifespan of those places, then it is going to end also. So when this finish, they still have chance to be reborn in a happy destination in the sugati, also possible. So later on, we will study karma in the later of this chapter. Then we will see what kind of karma brings what kind of lives into which places, and what kind of karma in the javanas, in the 7 javanas, we've seen them which one give result first and which one give result later, and so on. Okay, so let's continue with the so we finish with Niraya, which is the lowest realm. Then we go to the next one. It's called the Tirachana Yoni, animal kingdoms. So here we don't have to say more how animals suffer. No, I think we have seen enough of how animals suffer. And so sometimes it is interesting because we human beings sometimes say that, oh, so nice, I wish I was a bird, so free, we can fly in the sky and all these things, no? But we haven't remembered then also how animals, like even if they were free, then they still suffer when there it comes to weather, and also to predators and all kinds of these things we haven't thought when we thought that how nice the bird can be.
Yes, my dear family, there are some things that concern our teachers very greatly. And we have seen online before that, oh, the animals are more civilized than humans. May we be like the animals. And there is even a song, if we could be as civil as the animals and think. My dear family, let's be very, very careful with those kind of thoughts, because the teacher says, you see, consciousness become what it likes. Generally, we are in a place, if we can choose, we are places that we like. So if we really have our mental states onto admiring animals, for example, the possibilities, at least the chances of us becoming the thing we love are greater. So teacher says, you can share with animals, you can show love, empathy, but do not bring your mental state close to them in order to empathize. For example, something that happens when we deal with babies, have you seen an adult person dealing with a baby? When an adult wants to communicate with a baby, we bring, because we cannot talk directly as we are doing now with a baby. So generally we bring our tone, go, aka, go, g. Wherever they are, we bring our consciousness to that. So sometimes we can do the same with animals. So teachers are very careful. He said, no. You try to bring them up, but don't bring your consciousness down to that level, because they say, if you die in that very moment, in the very moment that you are with the dog, doing the same thing of the dog, and your mental state is connected and focused with that, well, that was the last thought you had in this life. So it has a greater chance for your consciousness, because it got connected with a lower realm of consciousness, of understanding and lack of wisdom. Just keep it there. I'm not saying that they don't feel, they don't think. Of course they feel and think, but they don't have the ability to know they are thinking, to know themselves, and to change and to develop further. So teachers are very careful, my dear family. We can empathize and play with animals, but be very careful not to bring your mental state to empathize until their level. Better bring them, show them. I don't know how much they will understand, but bring them up in love, in care, petting them and everything, but bring them up so they can, in next life, in the case the animal die at that moment, they can also reconnect, because they have the potentiality of good and bad in previous life, to reconnect with a better kind of existence or rebirth.
Yes, so why does the teacher say, why is it not good to be reborn into the animal realm? It is because that in the animal realm, most of the time, because of food, just because of so basic, they have to be killing, meaning that there are a lot of chance for them to do akusala. So when they do akusala, unwholesome actions such as killing, then there will be more unwholesome resultants will come. So it is difficult. They must do, because if they don't kill, they have no food. So it is hard.
Animals kill because of survival. They must kill. If they don't kill, they don't survive. But we humans have an option. We can kill to survive as well. We can kill to be fed, or we cannot kill to be fed. That is a very big difference. We have possibility, and there are many choices. We cannot plant negative seeds, even if we kill, like in Spanish we say, tanto peca el que mata la vaca como el que le sostiene la pata. Chemically, that is true. Sometimes we may not kill, or we will not dare to kill by ourselves the fish or the chicken or the pig or the cow. But by our own actions, we are making someone else killing. So some akusala is happening in somewhere. Some other people are planting bad seeds. But let's remember that for animals, there are no choice. So you see the difficulty. If any of our, I really wish not, but if any consciousness of a human falls into human realm, they will have less possibilities to do good. They will have much less possibilities to do kusala, because they must be killing every day, or at least every other day. They will need to kill in order to survive, and they will obviously rejoice by the killing. So they will be planting this akusala seed with joy, which will give bigger result, because of course they are bringing food to their family. They rejoice because of the killing they did. So much more tendency to go down. That's why it's so hard to come out of lower realms. We have a question. Ezequiel, you raised your hand? Yes.
Yes, I just did. Yeah. Thank you, Bante. Well, when I thought of karma, the first notion that came to mind is that karma is a result of choice, right? I mean, you plant the seeds with your own actions, and so far as you have choices in front of you,
yes.
And if you take the wrong path, then it's up to you. I mean, it was your volition after all.
Yes.
Yes.
You make of your life what you wish for, right?
Yes.
Now, when it comes to animal, I wonder what the explanation is for planting bad karma when these beings do not really have a choice, as far as I can tell, right? I mean, it's their instinct; they need to survive, and I mean, what choice does the tiger have? I mean, he cannot be a vegan, right? He's not choosing. I mean, he's not making informed decisions. So, what is your take on that?
If you think of only one lifetime, then it is true. Then it is kind of like unfair. Why is the animal, they have no choice? But why did he become an animal? Because of his own choice previously. So therefore, he was reborn into those kind of realm where he has no choice of doing further akusala, and so it is still one's own action. Therefore, our teacher says that be careful. Because once we are born into those realms, even the lower realms, hell realms or whatever, the situation is so bad that we have no chance. We have no other choices than doing akusala because of the environment. So although our own actions or our own volition is a very, very important factor, but it also very much depends on the surrounding, on other conditions as well. But of course, like even in hard conditions, even as human, there are humans that choose to do good in very hard situation, but it is difficult. So it is not so easy. So we must be careful of not to fall into those kind of places.
Yes, one thing to keep in mind is that is not forever. And the same way they did akusala to fall into animal realm, they also must have done kusala in the past. So, yes. For example, when a mother tiger is taking care of the cubs, definitely that tiger is experiencing some degree of kusala. Is taking care of another being that is not herself. So some kusala is happening. That's why when we share merits at the end of every session, when we mention, may beings that suffer more than us rejoice and share these merits of wisdom or goodness, we are especially thinking on the lower realms, hoping that their antennas are set up for that kind of thought or vibration, and we can help them in some way to move away. One thing that we can do with house pets is that, for example, right now I saw Paula, that she's sitting down and the dog is there.
Also,
so you can enjoy. Oh, look! I don't know how much you understand, but this thing is good to recollect, to think, or at least tell them that the red color is good. I mean, whenever you see in another life this red, the same thing I say to myself. I wish I follow this red in the next life. Whenever we see those red, those guys, these no hair guys and red color dress people, they have some kind of information that is important to live well. Let's just think on that way. I think the same. It's not talking about myself. Of course, I represent it, but I also feel the same for my own teachers. Remember, this color has something to do with goodness. So even if we can help an animal to kind of connect, or they feel our love and they are able to connect. Okay, I have never seen so loving or so stable my boss. I don't know how to call my owner. I don't know what word you want to use it. And I can reconnect. Oh, every time he or she sits and think for a little while with these no hair people, red color people, or thinking about the Dhamma or the Dhamma wheel or some image, we hope that consciousness get the connection that thing has some answers. So in the next life, if if they have the possibility, same as in the way I felt it, and maybe for you, why are you here? Why are we here? Just tell me. Because our parents told us? Not in my case. And the first time I saw a monk, something inside, like if it came from somewhere inside, like, oh, that person has something. That person, atrápenlo, catch him. Don't let him go. So I felt that with the teachers and many other things that sometimes resemble magic. When you go to the monasteries, there is something inside, because it is very likely that this is not the first time we have contact with wisdom. That's why we like it. That's why we are sitting here. So if we can give, going back to the thing, if we can make intelligently, with compassion and love, those animals that surround us able to make some kind of connections, that will be the best we can do. But yes, Ezequiel, it is very hard for an animal to go out of it. And I will make another example to bring it to human reality. Look, right now, no one is hurting us, no one is offending us. That's why it's so easy to be in Kusala. Right now, everybody, I see your faces, everybody's peaceful, everybody's smiling sometimes. It's very easy to be wholesome when nobody is teasing us. But when we have difficulties, and this is the challenge of the present day, when we have external difficulties, economic difficulties, job difficulties, people is stressed, people is afraid, people is aggressive, people is defending, it is harder to keep a mental state, wholesome mind, isn't it? Of course, this is more difficult when we have adverse conditions. Imagine if we fall down into lower realms, the conditions, people will be torturing us, boiling us, and insulting us, and things. It will be much harder for our mind to get into wholesome. That's why the teacher says, my dear family, this is serious. Choose your environment as much as possible. Choose your environment. And the Mangala Sutta is a very beautiful sutta that I recommend to everyone. It's called Mangala, which is the blessings. One of the blessings that the Buddha described is choose a suitable environment. Surround yourself with wiser people so that people will pull you up. Don't associate with fools. That meaning people who has less wisdom, less mental stability, and less morality. Don't try to associate as less as possible with people who will bring your potentiality lower, and relate with people who will bring you up. Even in this present realm, we can go higher or lower, but remember, my dear family, going down, that's why it takes so long and so dangerous to fall down. It takes a lot because of the things you just mentioned, Ezequiel. It's a matter of survival. We will do akusala because of survival. But remember, my dear family, as humans, we have a choice.
Yes, so...
Fair question.
Yes.
But I think, well, it is good to remember that animals also have chetana, right? So
Yes.
they are restricted in their a spectrum of decisions, but they still have some kind of choice.
Yes. Yes, even in between animals, you have seen dogs that are more mean or more loving than others. Have you seen? We have had many pets, and especially one pet was more loving than other, more, so to say, humble or intelligent. In between the animal spectrum, same as in human realm, there is a big spectrum of mental cultivation. Even in animals, that is so. The same applies. Yes, fair. Animals have some degree, but with less opportunity, less space to move. As humans, we have a greater space if we allow it. If we cultivate it and give ourselves that space and take it, we have a greater space for inner development. Very big.
Yes, actually, karma is very interesting. It's one of the most interesting subject that we have been studying. So in this chapter 5, we are going to explore a lot about karma. So everything will become much more clear in these coming sessions. And karma also is very interesting because even as an animal, there are animals that are in the wild that are in more danger, and there are animals that are house pet that even live better than some humans. Like they have their own bed, they have their pet food every day, they don't have to kill. They have like dogs or cats, like house pets.
They have
and,
toys.
They have toys and so much love, and so some animals live better than some humans.
Yes.
So why is that so? It's because of different kinds of karma are doing different kinds of work. Because the rebirth consciousness, which is patisandhi, unfortunately, it is an akusala vipaka, which is a resultant of unwholesome consciousness. That's why they are being reborn into the animal
As an
realm.
animal.
But because in previous lives they have also did a lot of good things, so those kind of karma give supportive result for them to have a much better animal life than other animals. Or in the other vice versa, some human beings, they are being reborn as a human because of kusala vipaka, because of a wholesome resultant. But unfortunately, they haven't done enough good to support their human life, so they can be in a very bad situation, or
worse than animals.
Like no food, or no home, or being
harassed, violence,
being tortured, or whatever.
hunger.
So karma works in a lot of different ways. Like it can be a supportive way, a destructive way, the obstructive way, and also productive way. So these 4 kinds of way it can work. So later on we are going to look at how karma works, and which is really interesting. So it's quite complex, but it's very interesting.
No se pierdan el próximo capítulo, chapter 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Karma,
we will explore karma, all the possibilities of karma that obstructs, karma that push, karma that create, karma that distracts. Actions, the seeds that we are planting every second by our thoughts are very powerful and have many different implications. As Charana mentioned, we may have good karma to born as a human, but bad karma to be in bad situation, and vice versa with the animals. Bad karma to born animal, but good karma to born in a rich house, friends or something like that. Free from danger and with food just on the plate. So very complex, and we are part of it. We are responsible of what we get. As Searu Tajania says, as much as you put, as much as you get. There is in nature, in the law of cause and effect, nature never invents nothing. Whatever possibility there is, whatever effect is possible to arise.
Yes. So going back to the animal and to the animal realm.
Thank you.
There is a lot of chance to do akusala, and there are very rare opportunities for doing kusala. So besides of taking care of the cubs or of the babies, so basically there are no more chance. They cannot develop themselves into of higher development because of their situation and because of that kind of life. So therefore it is quite dangerous, because once being an animal, then we will accumulate much more akusala, which later will give result again. So it's going down and down and down and down. So that's why we said our teacher said, so you really be careful.
Let's be careful, my dear family.
Do as much kusala as possible.
Reminder, ignorance brings down. Ignorance, aversion, and attachment is what brings us low. The more we can battle these 3 negative forces in this life, the most likely that we will have a better or even at least human rebirth to continue developing in good conditions, not so much suffering. So the same three enemies, Loba, Dosa, and Moha, are the things that brings us down, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes there are some extraordinary animals as well. Maybe in the immediately previous life they have been like a very humans, or they have been even devas, or we don't know. Even the bodhisattva, before he became the Buddha,
he was animal.
Throughout the many
times.
lives that he has been also some extraordinary animals as well. So he since he was not enlightened yet, he still had the possibility to be reborn into lower realms. That's why he had been an elephant, he had been a monkey, he had been other kinds of animals as well. But since he is already a bodhisattva, then he is always an extraordinary animal, trying to help other animals and still accumulating the paramis for him to attain Buddhahood. No? Okay, so let's continue. So until here, we finish with the animal realm, animal kingdom. Then let's go to another one, Petty Visaya, which is translated as hungry ghosts. Then most of the time, it is described in the scriptures, and the teacher says that these are beings who are always hungry and thirsty. So because of their own particular karma, that they were reborn into these places where it is very unsatisfying. All the time they are lacking something. So even someone or some people may offer them something to eat, but somehow those food become just something else. Then they cannot really take it, or they take it and it does not pass further. So it's this kind of this kind of beings that are in this kind of realm.
Now, there are different kinds of thirst and hunger. There is physical thirst, physical hunger. By my dear family, there is also mental thirst and mental hunger. When desire has no boundaries, and we as humans, we may know, of course we know somebody maybe have that characteristics, somebody that we know has those characteristics. Mental thirst and mental hunger often is referred to tanha. Tanha is also actually etymologically related to thirst. So the fact that we have desire, the Buddha described it as the mind is always thirsty. Even if we drink something, even if we think something, we get something, immediately after it will just last for a little bit, we want something else. Sometimes of the same kind, but better. So that's called addiction, that's called desire, and we experience it. In terms of these kind of beings, they are not just referring to the physical. Apparently, they also experience a lot of thirst and hunger and unquenchable. They never get satisfied. But the most important is the mental and mental hunger and thirst that we as humans also experience. And we, of course, besides joking, we know people who is obsessed and always is. This suffering is always nagging, thirsty. Even if they have very good conditions outside, thirst for power, thirst for money, thirst for affection, thirst for position, thirst for ego. So, my dear family, we are in this thing together, and we must do something to start changing these deep held mental habits, especially the mental habits, because they are the one who define where do we move after we die.
Okay, so just to imagine like being hungry all the time as a human being, how much suffering it would be. Then we can maybe have a little glimpse or a little idea of how this being suffered, always being hungry. Now, and then we come to the last lower realm, which is called Asura Kaya, most of the time translated as demon. And actually, these beings, they experience, they are the highest in the lower realms, the fourth one. So sometimes they experience some kind of happiness, but most of the time they suffer. But they are a little bit better than the animals, a little bit better than Peta, and much better than the Niraya beings. And in the Asura Kaya, in Asura, actually this question, many sessions ago, Alex have asked already. Asura, actually there are two kinds of Asuras. There are also Devas Asuras. But Devas Asuras, they are
also Diego asked about this.
Yeah, in the scriptures, they are described as that they are like kind of enemies of the devas. So they are also in the deva realms, that they always fight with the devas. So these beings, they are not in the dugati, they are not in unhappy destinations, this kind of asura. So they were asuras, and then there are those asuras which are in the lower realms, which are the ones that we are talking about here. So devas, asuras, they are a little bit more powerful. They are like devas, but different kinds.
They have power,
so you
but
see,
not nice used.
Yes.
It's almost same as humans. Humans with power and ignorance, very bad combination.
Yes, so in the Deva realms also, there are beings that, I mean, like humans, there are humans that likes to do good. There are humans also some like to, they also like to do like jokes, or like they like to bully, or they like to do bad things also possible. So it is also in the animals realms, also in the Deva realms, also in all kinds of realms there exist these different kinds of characteristics of beings. So in the Asura realms, what we need to know is that they have little bit, sometimes they have some kind of happiness, but most of the time they suffer. So here we finished with the 4 lower realms.
Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Turn on your mic. It was not scary?
It is hard to swallow.
And no worries, my friend. We are in this thing together, and we have possibility to go up. Let's
Yes.
go up. Let's go up.
Yes, and also that our teachers, actually the Buddha, he himself, he taught that it is for us, we think that we are humans, we are okay, but actually until we get to the first stage of enlightenment,
Sotapanna,
until then the door to the 4 realms is closed. So before that, we still have possibility, even we are living very nicely, very happily in this life, but we don't know what we did before in our previous lives. So all those possibilities that what we don't know what we did is possible to give result as well. So it is also possible, still possible for us to be reborn in one of those 4 realms that we just saw right now. So therefore, it is much better to strive and to try and to practice until we arrive to Sotapanna, the first stage of enlightenment. Then those doors are closed and we will be never reborn into those lower realms because of our own actions. No, of course, karma, well, later we'll explain in details.
yes.
But until then, we are not safe.
We have very good chance, my dear family. Let's try at least try to get Sotapanna. Then we close those doors. Finish. Not possible. A person who already entered into the stream of nobility, of wholesomeness, or purity cannot go down. As Seado Kamsachara reminds us, once you start practicing and get something, you cannot be a gypsy anymore. So we close the door in the same way that none of us right now will maybe go to violence or to fight as other human beings. We have made the choice not to go down or make us ourselves suffering or others. In the same way, we can go higher and higher and close the door. Now, why is important to study this? What do you think? Let's make it a question. What is the importance of doing this? What do you think? Why is it important to know the lower realms? Why did the Buddha had the necessity to explain this? What do you think?
Somewhere.
Yes.
One, to get spiritual, as we are doing, to get spiritual urgency. We want to not to go down. And another thing, something else, somebody, why do you think the Buddha explained this? Why to explain about something? Conchita.
To be more aware of our own emotions and reactions and behavior and everything.
Our responsibility. What else, my dear family? Oh, to see you is much better. Now we can interact in this way. Somebody else who wish to share? Why do you think the Buddha had the necessity to show us this? Why is it important? Yes, Ezequiel.
I think you put skin in the game because you know what's at stake.
Yes.
You know how bad it can go. If your behavior, if you deviate from wholesome behavior, you
Yes.
know how bad it can get once you go to rebirth. So I think it gives a very tangible image of what lies ahead.
Yes.
What's at stake, right?
Yes.
Yes.
When the teacher says, people may say, nothing bad in doing bad. Nothing bad in doing bad. We must know without fear. We are not trying to scare no one. I hope we are not doing that. We are not trying to scare. We are trying to inform because we can see it
If
even
we don't know,
if we don't know, we cannot complain later on, but when it is too late, what to do if we are already in lower realms? So what kind of things is important to know? What kind of things definitely when we die, there are 4 things if we do that will definitely bring us down with no questions asked. They are called garuka kama, which is killing a father or mother, matricide or patricide, can bring us down. Hurting a Buddha, if you attempt towards a Buddha and taking not the Buddha as an individual, but the whole teaching to destroy the teaching, or separating the Sangha, these are the 4 heinous crimes that a human can do. And definitely, if someone, which has happened because of out of greed, if someone like in ancient times, the king, the prince will kill the king or something like that, definitely that people will go down to lower realms. Now, my dear family, why is it important that the Buddha teaches this? We have seen beautiful things. Someone else, Paula, wanted to say something, or someone was raise a hand.
Maybe to get rid of
Lupita, yes.
injustice. To get rid of injustice.
Yes, Lupita, yes. It brings us a deeper, more responsible sense of the whole as a whole, and gives us more responsibility. We are entering in the new chapter, chapter 5, which is about karma. So, how can we explain karma and the results of our actions if we don't know the possibilities of where our actions take us? So we will see, if we do good, how we can go beyond human existence to the good one, more pleasant ones, or how we can go down. So the importance of this, my dear family, the Buddha is just giving us background information to be prepared to understand the law of karma deeper, because now we are going into the 5th chapter and we will start checking, okay, if you kill, this give you this, but in order to know what it will give you, we must understand the lower realm. So it will say, okay, it will bring you to this realm because of this, because of this, because of that. So be ready, my dear family, because now the pieces, many pieces of the puzzle, we spend the last 4 chapters understanding the nature of the mind, what kind of mental states a human can have or an animal can have, the mental process and all the relations they have. All that, the 4 previous chapters were just information. Now in the karma chapter, we start putting all this information together, so to start understanding precisely what kind of mental state, mental activity gives such an action, and that action gives what kind of result. In order to understand what happens with our actions, is impossible to know it well if we don't take into account all the possibilities that a consciousness, I don't say a human consciousness, a consciousness in this universe can move about between all the realms. So it will get very interesting in this coming chapter. And as you say, and I hear a single note, a common note, which is this thing inform us, make us take a better decisions, more wise, and pushes us in some way with this information, this understanding, to do good, to develop spiritually, and to be responsible for our actions. Because, my dear family, good and bad that we do matters. The field of reality is very sensitive. Every single thought that we have, every single verbal and physical action that we do influence the movement, and not just in ourselves. It influences the other person, the people around us. Good or bad that we speak, it immediately influences the other one, the consciousness of other being. We cannot pass it, but we influence. So, my dear family, this is very interesting. Nature is very beautiful. And if we attune ourselves towards the goodness of nature, nature itself can take us out of suffering. That's, yeah, very beautiful, very beautiful. Let's attune ourselves to the beautiful aspects of nature, and by doing good, by being loving, by being service and wise, we'll be liberated from suffering. I don't see a greater gift from the universe to us. Liberate through love, not suffering or guilt, love and wisdom. Let's very good, very good. I'm very inspired today. Thank you, my family. It's very nice to see you. Feels much better. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Alex.
Yeah, it's regarding the first realm that you mentioned. the hell realm. You mentioned there are these stronger beings that inflict pain to some weaker individuals, right?
Yes.
What is for these beings to like inflict that kind of power and not being able to go further down into the hell realm if they're already there? I mean, if they're inflicting bad actions towards other beings, what are their odds to go out of this place if they are acting like that? Or can they go further down?
Yes, Alex, the odds are very little.
But they
Same,
said that
said those who inflict. The odds are very little. If they are in the bottom and there is no lower than that, they just make worse. Like, let's put it in human terms. Here, a person who torture, there is people in this planet who, I don't know if because they pay them or because just they like it, because they have a cruel mind, they inflict. So even staying in the same realm, they just go into deeper states or modes of suffering in the same realm. In the case of someone is inflicting that pain, if there is no lower realm, they just get worse in that realm and they are already in the bottom. As you mentioned, the odds of going out, the consequences of doing bad are really bad and go to bad, and good goes to good. I mean, the nature applies to positive and negative, so the odds are very little, and they will be moving. I imagine they will be moving in the different realms depending on their actions, because nature, whenever they die, these beings, there are no beings that exist forever. I mean, the consciousness can last very long, but one single lifespan does not say forever. If they do bad, the same rules will apply to anybody. You do good, you go up. Serpientes y escaleras. You do good, you go up. You go down. You do bad, you go down. So I don't know. Does that get clear? Charana has something to add.
I will ask our teacher, or who are those beings? Actually,
but definitely they will be on that realm.
So imagine then that those beings that are born there, that are torturing others, instead of being tortured, they might have a little bit better karma than those that are being tortured. But because they are doing also bad karma,
going more down,
they could be, next time they could be the ones who are being tortured. So I don't know. Like humans, also there are humans that are killing other animals or killing other beings. Although we are born in the same realm. It is possible, but they themselves are planting bad seeds at that moment. So those results will give results those actions will give results as well. But exactly how it works, I will ask our teacher and come back to you next week.
Yeah, they are not out. Yeah, we will ask Alex, and they are not out of the cycle. And let's remember to bring it home. In this planet, humans torture humans themselves. So they are under the same rules. They have just a little bit more power or possibility, or using aggression or arms or whatever in order to abuse others. So I will think we will clarify with our teachers if they have some other aspects to take a look. But I will say that the same kind of beings just inflict among themselves in the same way that humans attacks other human.
Yes.
Is it okay, Don Alex?
That makes sense. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Fer, did you raise? No, you didn't raise your hand, no, Fer?
Yeah, but it was a very similar question. Like what Charana said, answer kind of my question. Well, I was thinking if the beings who punish others are of the same realm, or if they are, for example, asuras.
Yes, I also thought maybe it is possible.
Kind of punish the lower realm beings or something like that. But
yes. It
can be beings of the same realm, but with better conditions.
Yes,
could be.
Also,
but we will ask our teacher to make sure about this.
We will check.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Marifer.
I mean, it's a weird question, but in the whole population of the flow of consciousness, do you know which realm has that more population?
And the lower realms.
The lower ones.
The 4 lower have much more of a population
Many.
than humans.
The teacher says that forget about humans, forget about animals and insects. In the lower realms, that's why the teacher says, please do good, please do good. The most of the beings the most populated are the 4 lower ones. My dear family. This is serious, and this is so lucky to be human and to have a possibility to cultivate and have a map. Yes, does that answer, Marifel?
Much, 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 way more.
Way more beings in the lower realms than here. We are very lucky to have. The last time we died with love or generosity. That gives us this realm. Let's not complain about our conditions. Let's not complain about coronavirus. This is already very good. Let's try our best and go higher. Let's go higher. We have a methodology, my dear family. We have the energy, will, and inspiration. Let's move up. Hi.
Does this apply to higher realms? So, for example, are more humans than devas, then more devas than
No,
brahmas?
more humans.
Uh,
The lower, the more.
The lower, the more.
Okay,
Yeah.
There are less devas,
Less
and
Brahmins.
there are a lot
less-
as well, and less Brahmins,
less-
because,
less-
my dear family, unfortunately, doing
Do
good
good.
requires work.
Much more.
Doing bad, it's
So
free.
easy.
It's free for everyone. Think bad, speak bad, it's free. It's cheap. That's why it's cheap. So, my dear family, we need to put some intent and right effort in order to, even if the mouth wants to say la burrada, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Even if the hand wants to do la burrada, hold it, hold it, hold it. And until we see the goodness in goodness itself, and goodness itself will bring us up. Yes.
Yes. Everybody okay?
Everybody okay? I love you. You look very
Yes.
beautiful.
Can I suggest that we take 1 minute break and then we come back?
1 minute break.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. So the video of the first part got cut. So here we are recording the information that which is left, which is not recorded. So let's continue with the exploration. Now we're going to the next realm, which is the human realm. In Pali, it's called Manusa. And human realm, I believe that it is not necessary to talk too much about it because we all know about it.
We know what is it about. At some degree, we know what is it about.
Yes. So, mana, actually, this word manusa, mana means mind, and then usa means strong and sharp. So, one of the definitions of manusa, of human, is are those who have strong mind or sharp mind. So, this is one definition of manusa. And there are also other definitions which we can find in Pali of human. Now, another one is called kusala kusale dhamme manati janati ti manuso. This means that one who knows kusala and akusala, therefore he is called a human.
Or we can say it has the potential to know kusala and akusala. We know that when our minds are lost or loose, we don't even know about kusala or akusala, but one who has the potentiality to know it. What will differentiate us from animals?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Okay. So actually, human are those which are capable of the best, and at the same time, also of the worst. We can do a lot of kusala, and also we can do a lot of akusala. So, human has this potentiality to whether become higher or to become low.
With the same tools, same mouth, same body, same mind.
Mm-hmm.
Different mental ingredients. That's the only thing that will change, that will make the difference between good and bad, will be which ones do we allow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, as a human being, we have a very great opportunity, even to attain the highest wisdom, even to become a Buddha. The Buddha himself was a human being. And so, human has the potentiality and are capable of good and bad. So whichever we want to do, akusala or kusala, this is totally our own choice. So may we all choose well.
Moment to moment.
Mm-hmm.
The mind is active, either doing kusala or akusala.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral, we can put it already on the kusala. So there are only these three modes. Definitely, it's either in good or in bad. It's a matter of momentary choice.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Indeed, that we are talking about human life. Human life is actually very precious, and it's not easy to become a human being. there is an example that the Buddha has given in a sutta. It is said that imagine in an open ocean, there is a turtle, a sea turtle, which is blind. So every 100 years, this sea turtle will come up to the surface to take some air, and it will go back again. So only every 100 years it will come up once. And also it happens that there is a wooden yoke, a wooden ring that is flowing in the open sea, that is floating in the open sea randomly. So the Buddha said that the chance that this turtle, that when this blind turtle, when it surfaced to get some air, that it just coincidentally put his head into the ring that is floating in the open sea, is that much the chance of being a human being.
Every 100 years, one blind turtle comes up to take the possibility, the chance for it to not just touch, but come into the center of the ring that is lost in the open sea.
Yes,
that's the chance for a human being. We are indeed very precious, and that's how the Buddha explained it. But you can look at online, just Google what are the odds of being a human being. You will see the number that science has come, taking into account the fact that there is a habitable planet, there is a universe in the first account, there's a habitable planet, being able to have water in the three states, liquid, solid, and gaseous gas. And for biological thing, the odds for it, and for the human being, I think, man, the number is mind-boggling, mind-blowing. So we are actually very precious. For our parents to have met, just look for that. And what is also, what are the possibilities to have met from my parents or something like this? You will see the number that shows up. Maybe our mother could have married another person, and then that being will be another one. We will be, if we would, another one. Then the sperm from millions of sperms, only one, etc., etc., etc. All the conditions, and to continue alive.
Yeah.
So actually, it's very, very precious.
Even in this example, not just that the time that it takes for the turtle to surface, but also the possibility of the wooden ring doesn't get rotten or still exists and it is floating who knows where in the open sea. For the turtle to put its head inside that ring, that much possibility is to be a human.
This is us now, right now, the possibility to do good or bad, and what we do with this precious opportunity. That's for us to see.
Yes, since we are already human, it's really, really precious, and it is very much encouraged by the Buddha that we make good use of this very lifetime.
When they say human, what else? Actually, when the Buddha was asked, where are the most of the things, and he said in the lower realms. So where would we generally be? There is so much, we can see it directly in the world, there is so much ignorance, aversion, and desire, which lead all of us to, in different degrees, to do bad. Well, it's very possible that most of the things, unfortunately, apparently, are in lower realms. So it is already to have a reason to this place and have contact with the Dhamma, or a methodology to go forward and move upwards. That's already very precious.
Yeah.
Let's please, as an invitation, recollect on this in your intimacy. Recollect on the preciousness of life, or if you have a son or daughter, you can recollect on it, and I think that our views will greatly change when we have this spectrum
perspective of
gratitude and appreciation.
Yes. So if you want to know more about this sutta where the Buddha mentioned about this sea turtle, then you can go to Samyutta Nikaya, Chigala Suttas, and you can read it, and it's very nice also. Okay, so since this human life is precious, let's see exactly the words of the Buddha himself. He says, Apamadena bhikkhave sampadeta, meaning, O monks or practitioners, strive on diligently. Buddhupado dulabo lokasmin. Rare is the arising of the Buddha in this world. Manusa bhavo dulabo. Rare is to be a human being. Dulabha sada sampatti. Rare is the attainment of faith or confidence or trust. Yes. Pavajita bhavo dulabo. Sadhamma savanam dulabam. So it's rare to be renounced, to want to practice, and it is rare to listen to the true Dhamma. Evam diwase ovadi. Thus, every day did the Buddha or the Blessed One admonish
the monks.
So really, for this rare human life, we should strive on diligently. This is the own words of the Buddha in the Brahmajala Sutta Vanana. Sorry.
You can see already to be a human being, great amount of odds and possibilities, already very rare and precious. Then to be a human with the Buddha, because 700 years ago there were many humans, but no a person who have discovered the way out of suffering. And then after having a Buddha to show the way, to have confidence on practicing, trying, learn it, what we are doing now. And then after that, to take the steps to start letting go of some, maybe in the most common daily life, worldly pleasures, to be putting our mind or setting our minds either to mental cultivation through meditation or to study, contemplating, thinking about things. So that's already by us sitting right now here, we are doing some degree of detachment and renunciation to some other things instead of seeing a movie or something like that. So this kind, to have that still, and then to get in contact with the good quality Dhamma, which we know. There are many kinds of ways of thinking, many philosophies. Forget about Buddhism or any kind of denomination. A path that can just inform us about reality, makes us understand causes and effect, and then move according for the benefit, common benefit, be it from wherever it comes. Even among a single way of thinking, there are many branches, and often there are more that offer not very accurate information. So to have that contact and wanting to practice, it's even more precious. We try our best. There is a way. Keep the information, and hopefully it will become handy whenever life is real.
Okay, so dear friends and dear Dhamma family, so with the words of the Buddha of encouragement to cherish this human life and do our best and as much kusala as possible and to develop as much wisdom as possible, let's take this as the what we remember for these coming days of practice, and actually for the whole life, we should remember this. So let's close with this.
Remember that goodness, my dear family. We really, although we have, as you know, clearly it's obvious, we have chosen the path of the Dhamma. I want to just leave it clear that it is goodness and logic. We have found the most of the logic and common sense towards how nature works and the possibilities for inner development. Obviously, when we speak about the Buddha and pointing out that as a path, in our point of view, it's a fact. There's much information. We have, as you know, I just want to add that we have searched in previous years and decades into different ways that were places where answers were not satisfactorily given. With that being said, it is goodness. It is the logic of avoiding bad for our own detriment and the detriment of others, which will liberate us. Obviously, as far as we have found or explored, the Dhamma provides one of the best, most logical and well-explained paths. The choice is ours, and I just want to point out, have it very clear, we are not on the promotion or missionary, any kind of thing. May logic and wisdom prevail, and whatever gives us more stability and clarity, may that be so. Welcome in any way that we can continue to support, and we continue working. In any way, we continue working towards goodness for the common benefit. Accepted anything, and we move towards that direction. From our side, we're thinking, we have the thought of continuing. Welcome anytime.
Okay, thank you everybody. So have a nice week ahead, and see you next week.
See you next week. May everybody be well. Take care of common practices for hygiene and all of the situation present. May all our families be well. See you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday.
Thank you for the exploration. We continue. Bye bye.